Hello everyone, and now welcome to another game between 120 and finally another game between 120 and Colorful here, as 120 spawning as the blue undead on the bottom right hand side of the map, meanwhile Colorful spawning as the orange night elf. Night Elf versus Undead. So far, we've been seeing some really great games. It is going to be a Warden going up against a Death Knight this time around. So Warden on Twisted Meadows, one of the largest maps in the map pool, and that Warden's high mobility and use of Avatar of Vengeance could be a way for Colorful to beat out 120 and the Undead. I think ultimates can't be devoured. Doomguard can be dispelled. Like Avatar Vengeance, it's magic immune. But I think you can Stormbolt and Death Coil like Earth, right? I'm pretty sure you can do that. Anyways, coming back around, Ogre Magi gonna get cleared up here. Forest Troll, Shadow Priest, coming across, hired up from that tavern, and we see 120 already out of the gate with a very fast expansion, summoning up a Ziggurat here. Meanwhile, this one Wisp is going to try and do a bit of scouting and should end up scouting this position out here. And once it scouts it out, we'll see what the Warden tries to do. That Wisp knows that it's low on life, not long for this world, and doesn't want to stick around far too long. Back off to the north here, we are looking at a really spaced out, colorful as where are his buildings? Oh, right, there is the Ancient of War right there. Creeps already getting cleared up here as the Warden wants to go after this Acolyte, perhaps get a Shadow Strike off on that Acolyte and take it down. Instead, doing a little bit of stutter stepping to attempt to take down this Haunted Gold Mine. Colorful already down to 320 hit points. Is it going to try and Death Coil, heal skeletal minions, and gets the cancellation, and ooh, gosh, down to 6 hit points, and is now looking to get away. Does have a potion of greater healing, and that's the only reason why it can afford to stick around here. Does have a blink as well. Doesn't have Shadow Strike yet, so blink first from Colorful here on Twisted Meadows with a Warden. All right, a rather unorthodox strategy, as ghouls are now going to be making their way inside the base of Colorful and see an actual very spacious, very sparse, undefended Night Elf base. Forest Troll Berserker now making its way over, trying to, bring up a decent number of units here. Are we going to perhaps be looking at a Shadow Strike? There is a Shadow Strike onto one ghoul. That ghoul is going to end up getting saved. Forest Troll Berserker, Forest Troll Shadow Priest trying to hang all of this back here as the low hit point of Forest Troll Shadow Priest has to dodge a Shadow Strike here. Nope, not going to be forced to dodge a Shadow Strike. Instead, going to get reinforce his own units. So Forest Troll Shadow Priest and Forest Troll Berserker are going to be able to stay alive as the ghouls are still causing problems inside of the base here. All right, Moonwells are going to try and be repaired. That Moonwell down to 100 hit points by climbing up nicely. And with this army of just a solo Warden and 2 mercenaries able to hold back the Death Knight and ghouls, those Moonwells providing a bit of health and a bit of mana to try and keep these units alive longer. Death Knight now out of mana here, needs a little bit more before it can get land off another Death Coil, as the Forest Troll Berserker able to slip between the Moonwell and this tree right there, but it looks like it will end up getting taken down. All right, that low hit point ghoul down to 95 or 75 hit points. Death Knight could get the Death Coil off. Are we going to see one more shot? Yes, it does get taken down as well. And both sides are losing quite a bit here, as the Warden is sitting at level 2, and we are now at Tree of Ages. All right, so the Warden is at Tree of Ages, and even though it's only a solo hero right now, that Warden is going to be getting benefit of a bonus experience. All right, are we going to perhaps be looking at more damage racked up onto some of those ghouls as well, as there's just not enough units to try and defend. 21 supply going up against 34. The army is just not that large for Colorful at all. It is showing, how's that showing a 6 supply army, as the Warden is already 5, and the Forest Troll Berserker is right there as well. So not counting in the Forest Troll Berserker somehow, unless the stats are off somewhere as well. All right, going after a ghoul. Ghoul gonna try and retreat back. Death Knight does get the death coil off. It's gonna save there as the units are all retreating back. 22 supply. Well, 5 workers here. Not quite sure how the count is working, but yep, army of colorful now going to be forced to try and retreat back. All right, this forest troll berserker somehow not getting counted in to colorful's army, as the forest troll shadow priest now pushing things back into 11 here. All right, we are looking at dryads getting trained up. We are getting up a tree of life, and 120 is setting up an expansion on the bottom left. Warden is sitting at level 3 here, going to be able to will gain a bit more experience and wants to put in more harassment now that has level 2 Shadow Strike, perhaps hunting a couple of easy ghouls. Death Knight sitting at level 2. Are we going to look at some damage? There is a Shadow Strike onto the Death Knight, and now perhaps going to try and get some damage onto a ghoul or two to try and disrupt some of that healing. Death Knight, however, with that Shadow Strike damage no longer healing either, staying steady at 340 hit points and still taking a little bit of that damage over time. All right, Warden perhaps going to make its way back off to the north here. Are we going to see another bit of damage onto a unit? It doesn't look like it. Death Knight still waiting to use that Ritual Dagger on one of his own units here. Death Knight, oh, no, hasn't done it yet. Are we going to see a low hit point ghoul get taken down? No, we are not. Warden now in a tough spot, down to 143 hit points, 105, and able to escape at, well, 60 hit points again. So that Warden has been constantly escaping with, well, in the red zone. And we are now looking at Colorful finally trying to train up a decent number of dryads as this Tree of Life, well, is trying to absorb quite a bit of damage, more damage than he can currently take. Tree of Life now going after this Ogre Warrior here. We are looking at Vampiric Aura for that Warden, not necessarily the best item for himself here, as the Forest Troll Berserkers are perhaps going to be trying to go after additional targets too. Tree of Life needs to heal back up. Going to try to eat up a couple more trees as the Forest Troll Trapper going to get cleaned up here. All right, Cloak of Shadows being left behind. Level 4 now on that Warden, as we are going into entangling that gold mine at the 12 o'clock spot. Dryads, Forest Troll Berserker, Forest Troll Shadow Priest, and now continuing to make its way down. Level 2 Blink on the table. A number of low hit point ghouls. A Breath of Fire or a high-level Fan of Knives could definitely cause problems, as the Warden now makes its way down to the south. Does have a Potion of Greater Healing, does have that Crystal Ball, just in case there are going to be burrowed Crypt Fiends later on, as we're looking at the Ogre Warrior getting cleaned up here. Death Knight now going after Forest Troll Warlord, as well as well, not going to be able to finish things off here. Asobi Mask selling up some items and now going after that Death Knight. Death Knight, no shadows, or not taking a Shadow Strike there, as the Forest Troll Trappers are getting cleaned up nicely. There goes another target there. Forest Troll Berserker could get attacked once or twice by the Death Knight and then get a Death Coil off there, as you can see that the Death Knight using that Staff of Teleportation in order to get away. 47 supply compared to 48. Both sides running up on 2 bases. Colorful, not fully saturated yet. Thank you for the follow, as we are getting in the Tree of Eternity and transitioning into bears. That Sobi Mask could have a profound impact. More mana on that Warden, meaning more Avatar of Vengeance and more Shadow Strikes. Currently, though, the Death Knight is partnered alongside that Lich and will be able to heal up quite easily with those Death Coils, as Obsidian statues are getting trained in as well. 54 supply by 120. 50 over 60 supply by Colorful, both sides running up on 2 bases, as the Warden wants to get to level 5 and then, well, try and engage against that Undead army. By engaging against the Undead army, and once it hits level 5, well, guarantees to get to level 6, as you cannot do that with just creeps. Ring of Regeneration going to be picked up by the Warden there, so faster mana regeneration and faster hit point regeneration on that Warden, as we see this creep camp getting now cleaned up. Meanwhile, Lich is doing a bit of solo leveling away from that Death Knight, trying to get as much experience as possible, getting to level 2. Nope, take it back. Death Knight out here onto the battlefield as well may actually stop the Lich from getting to level... Nope, still going to be able to make it. And picking up a Scroll of the Beast on that Death Knight. Thank you for the follow again. So we have 2 new follows. So what is Colorful's strategy going to be? Well, 120, rounding things out, going for a Pit Lord as that third and final hero. That Pit Lord very strong in that front line. Doesn't look like... Well, it actually did go for Howl of Terror, surprisingly. But Howl of Terror is one of those abilities that can often end up feeding the destroyers as you're able to devour magic, the Howl of Terror that you apply to your opponent. All right, in comes a Fan of Knives to rack up a bit of damage, and you can see suddenly all of those ghouls are low on hit points. Druid of the Claw now needs to try and retreat back, and it is going to be healing back up nicely. There goes another Fan of Knives. A couple of ghouls do get taken down there as the Howl of Terror trying to counteract that roar. Pit Lord still in that frontline spot, does not have that cleave attack as of yet, as it is still level 1. Colorful sitting at 67 supply, about a quarter of the way to level 6. Now, the question is going to be, how is Colorful going to play this all out? If he can get to level 6 quickly before giving too much experience to the Death Knight and the Lich, that Avatar of Vengeance, it will have a powerful window of opportunity. However, that window of opportunity can close as the undead heroes continue to level up as well. And once you get level 3 on that Lich, or even level 5, that window seems to have completely shut, as the hero nuking output of the undead army is greater than the Avatar of Vengeance. Coming back around, a lot of corpses are just being applied out here onto the battlefield here. Warden still has quite a little bit of ways to go, as a Scroll of Healing offsetting a bit there. There's a blink back to try and retreat. Are we going to be looking at more mana onto that Warden and perhaps trying to put pressure here? That is a ton of corpses there. What is going down, as all of those Crypt Fiends are still decent on hit points, getting constantly healed up by the Obsidian statue and burst healed by that Death Knight. All right, Moonwells are going to get cleaned up here. Upgraded Moonwell does fill up a little bit faster. Meanwhile, Pit Lord is still seeing that level 1 inching closer towards level 2. Lich, Warden getting very close to level 6 here, trying to get those Phantom Knives, trying to pick off any low hit point units that they can find, but still so far unable to do so, as the Death Coil burst heals that Crypt Fiend back up to full. Frost Nova going down onto a Druid of the Claw. More damage getting racked up again. No real Staff of Preservation. No real sign here, as we see a big Phantom Knives there, as the Warden does get up to level 6. Warden, where is going to try and go, does have Avatar of Vengeance. Needs a little bit more mana to do exactly that, but there goes another bear as well. Avatar of Vengeance, however, out here onto the battlefield, and that is going to be essentially a second almost what I would call a level 5 hero, it feels often, as time as the Spirit of Vengeances are looking to engage. Remember, the Spirit of Vengeances are completely invulnerable to damage, and they can continue to poke apart this army without really being in danger of falling. However, the big problem is that it's these Crypt Fiends with their medium armor that are able to absorb so much damage so easily. Continuing to put in pressure here, Obsidian statues could get poked down rather fast, as those Spirit of Vengeances are trying to find those targets. All right, creating a little bit of a wall, and somehow the Pit Lord is able to squeeze past a complete sea of Night Elf units and get back away. All right, Avatar of Vengeance. What's one of the ways to counteract the Avatar of Vengeance? Trying to fight where it is not, as the Death Knight, Phantom Knives finding another Crypt Fiend to, get blown over. Obsidian Statue down to 44 hit points. The Spirit of Vengeance is quickly trying to track down those targets. Druid of the Claw going to get some rejuvenations and then transform into a bear here, as the Warden is still fighting its way through. There goes another Crypt Fiend. Solo Warden doing a great job in these battles so far, as the Pit Lord now chasing back the other way, as the Warden has run out of mana. Obsidian Statue looking to retreat all the way back. We do see a second expansion by Colorful already up and operational. Nothing of that sort yet from the Undead, as the Undead does have the benefit of still being able to clear out creep camps in order to gain a bit of experience. All right, Spirit of Vengeance is, however, making it difficult to try and do any of that creeping, as the Avatar of Vengeance now needs to back up negative armor well, just trying to fall back here once more. Spirit of Vengeance is trying to find some easy targets, perhaps try to tip things in favor for that Warden getting to level 7 and that level 3 Blink for that extra high mobility. Hey, you're welcome, Metaphysics. Coming back through off on the north-hand side, Death Knight clearing out this Forest Troll Warlord creep camp. We are looking at a Pit Lord also getting cleaned up. Good morning, Burrow Rush, as the Death Knight standing at level 5 cannot gain any more experience from creeping. Back off to, well, this side here, Panda is now joining in on the battle. So Panda as the follow-up hero after the Warden gets to level 6. Avatar of Vengeance is also nearby, offering a bit of support. And this is actually quite interesting. The Brewmaster has to be careful, though, doesn't want to actually fall to any of these creeps, as it desperately needs all of that experience. Perhaps going to get a Breath of Fire as well, and picking up a useful item, Orb of Darkness, on that Brewmaster. But that may end up just feeding all of the destroyers a bit too much. Are we going to see a Scroll of Town Portal going back the other way? 75 supply over 80. This army here, we can see a Cloak of Shadows being left behind. Ancient of War trying to fight back. Abominations do have Disease Cloud, meaning those low hit point Dryads could have a bit of a problem as the Panda and the rest of the army now heads back off to the north. All right, Howl of Terror shutting things down here. New Avatar of Vengeance was used. Are we going to be looking at a handful of Crypt Fiends? Panda, Breath of Fire, Fan of Knives to try and blow over and, well, spin down all of these Crypt Fiends. That is a lot of AoE damage as the Crypt Fiends are just getting cleaned up. Not enough that the Obsidian Statues and the Death Coil can do, but bears are falling as well. No Staff of Preservation on the Night Elf side here, as the Lich is about to get to level 4. One low hit point, Druid of the Claw trying to escape away, and it is just slowly walking away, and looks like it will be able to survive. Druids of the Claw back off to the north here. Well, Warden, what did it do? It blinked back, got to the Moonwells, and now is continuing to fight back here. Plenty of Spirit of Vengeances trying to fight their way position through, as we are looking at another Fan of Knives. Army of Spirit of Vengeance going to go ahead and take down some Obsidian Statues. 68 supply compared to 77, but the Undead army is still nearby, and, well, did take a bit of a hit here. All right, we're going into some rejuvenations. Heal back up. Destroyer is going to devour magic. Those expensive rejuvenations, getting in a bit more hit points and more mana. Little does finally know, though, that he has not taken the economic advantage. He's just equalized it, as his opponent does have this expansion here at that 10 o'clock location. Orb of Darkness does not cancel an Avatar. Orb of Darkness just creates a skeletal minion if the unit dies, but a corpse is still created there. But if a skeletal minion is created, then the problem becomes the destroyers are able to devour that magic, and, well, then go straight after those bears. So it is a bit of a dual-edged sword if your opponent is able to reverse that on you. Coming back around, Crypt Fiend's going to try and engage. Panda does have Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire, but really wants to get to level 3 first to maximize a bit of that damage. Low hit point, Druid of the Claw getting to get taken down. There's a Breath of Fire, and, well, more damage coming back through. Death Knight getting off the Death Coil there. Avatar or Spirit of Dust of Appearance trying to take down the burrowed Crypt Fiend. As the Panda now at level 3 has level 2 Breath of Fire and should be able to blow over more targets rather easily. 77 supply compared to 51. Colorful is actually in a bit of trouble, as he is going to end up in a no upkeep here. 72 supply, a massive army supply difference, as the Avatar of Vengeance, well, is pretty much nowhere to be seen right now and could be losing a Goblin Shredder. It looks like 120 has the momentum all on his side, and is just going to slowly chip away at Colorful's lack of an army with a 20 supply advantage. 120 could easily replenish any units lost, as well as he has quite a big, as the Avatar of Vengeance is here, ready to summon up a handful of Spirit of Vengeances who need to be engaging in the battle and dealing and dishing out damage for Colorful to have any chance whatsoever. 30 supply advantage going in favor of a 120 now, as those Spirit of Vengeances are going after those Obsidian Statues. The only thing that take full damage from the piercing of those Spirit of Vengeances here, well, also the Abominations, but those are, well, difficult to try and take down, especially with a 300 or 600 burst heal. Panda gonna come back around here trying to finish off a couple of Crypt Fiends. There's a big fan of knives. There's a Death Coil for the save again, as the Warden has been unable to pick off or thin out this Night Elf army, even with 6 invulnerable piercing damage, range piercing damage units. All right, new expansion is being built off to the north here by Colorful. Colorful is trying to just out-expand his opponent as the Death Knight now rotates over to the 10 o'clock position and sees that there has been an expansion here for quite some time. Tree of Eternity going to try to make its way back over and take back that expansion that it was lost, as this expansion is now out as well. Colorful going to be losing this 10 o'clock expansion here. Crypt Fiend's able to easily take this apart, and it has really been a sign of the armies having a bit of problem here. Of right, this Abomination about to get taken down. A Warden not going to level up though. Brewmaster still has that Orb of Darkness, as we see that Colorful still is, well, even on bases by taking the starting location here at the 2 o'clock spot. All right. 120 looking to take that 7 or 8 o'clock starting location now. Undead army marching across to, well, Colorful's last base. Meanwhile, Avatar of Vengeance needs quite a bit of corpses to make anything happen, as Colorful perhaps trying to do some sort of last stand. Warden going to, well, stop this haunted gold mine before it gets started, but then needs to join back in on the battle. It does have a Staff of Teleportation and should be able to heal up or try and defend this Tree of Life location here, as the army is now making their way over. In comes the Warden here. Here comes the Dryads, but that is a lot of Crypt Fiends to try and, well, get past. There's a big fan of knives here. Avatar of Vengeance does have a ranged medium, ranged normal damage, so that is a perfect counter to those Crypt Fiends if it can actually stay alive. Warden continuing the fight. There is the Dust of Appearance going to take down one Crypt Fiend. No, it ends up getting denied. Obsidian statues showing up onto the battlefield, as the Druid of the Claw gets some rejuvenations off. Level 4 now on that Pit Lord, as the Warden trying to go into the backside here and trying to finish off all of these Crypt Fiends as well. Warden is going to be able to get off a Fan of Knives. Needs a little bit of time to try and get off another Fan of Knives against all of these units, and could get, well, does not get that Burrowed Crypt Fiend off to the north, as the Fan of Knives is not a perfect 360 damage every single time you cast it. All right, more damage getting racked up. There goes another Abomination. That was actually denied as well. There's another Fan of Knives, and it misses the targets again. A handful of Burrowed Crypt Fiends not getting taken down, and that could be the difference there, as the Brewmaster could have gotten to level 4, perhaps get another Breath of Fire to blow things over, but no. It looks as though Colorful is going to be losing this window of opportunity to try and engage. More Spirit of Vengeances are coming back out to, out onto the battlefield. Low hit point Abomination could get cleaned up there. There it gets taken down. Level 7 now on that Warden, but a solo Warden is not going to be enough, as the Death Knight now is sitting at level 6. And is it going to go for Animate Dead perhaps to try and eat up some of the corpses? No, instead goes for level 3 Unholy Aura. Spirit of Vengeance is continuing to go after all of these targets here. Avatar of Vengeance still has plenty of time left. There goes another Fan of Knives, 53 supply compared to 70, as the Warden is somehow still alive after all this time, and now going after those precious Obsidian statues that hold the Undead army together. Spirit of Vengeance is do finally take down that last Obsidian statue, as the Warden is now trying to make a play back over. Level 5 now on that Lich. Amulet of Spell Shield going to absorb a bit of damage here, as we see a Howl of Terror coming back across. Warden trying to still stay alive, down to 400 hit points, as the rejuvenation is not doing enough to keep that Warden in the green. All right, perhaps going to see another Fan of Knives. There's a Fan of Knives, takes on another Crypt Fiend again. 67 supply compared to 53. Warden trying to carry this army on her back with Spirit of Vengeance and additional Druids of the Claw constantly making their way back over. Very low hit point Druid of the Claw here should be getting up a rejuvenation. Not quite sure why it isn't, as the Death Knight, well, perhaps not worth saving. There's the Death Coil finding that target, homing in down. 67 supply compared to 51. A valiant effort by the Warden, and doing a seemingly great job so far, as we're looking at Spirit of Vengeances, still diving here. Warden down to 82 hit points, down to 75, able to blink back away, needs another rejuvenation, but gets a Death Coil instead, and that is most likely the game. Level 7 Warden falls, and Colorful gives up 120, takes the victory. And wow, how far could that Warden have gone if it was allowed to keep on going? All right, final scores coming up for you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys missed any part, well, hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a comment below.